Are there any other apologies? Is Trisha Atutahi? Just it too, so we can hear you, please. Say that again, please, my dear. Kana Wilson. Thank you. Andrew Jones and Jocelyn Lynch. Oh, Jocelyn Lynch. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Ronald. Thank you, Auntie Ngawa. Chris Tangitu. Auntie, just confirm those.
So Trisha Atutahi, Kana Wilson, Andrew James, Jocelyn Lynch, Ricky Turi and Kihinatai, and Chris Tangitu.
Thank you, Auntie. Are there any other apologies? So, okay, when we have motions, can you just say your name, please? So that we can, Hannah Jones is our, there she is there. Etu, Hannah. She's our administrator, secretary. So she's new and needs to know our names, whānau. So just when you move, say, I Pauroto Ngaropo move. So I'll do that now. I Pauroto Ngaropo like to move that the apologies be received. Someone second?
Aroha Ross.
Thank you, Aroha. The apologies have been presented. You've heard them. Ko rongo hia koutou ki ngā ingoa. Ko kore wātea mo tēnei hui. Those who aren't available today. Those in favour for the apology say aye. Against? And passed. Ka pai. Ko mana. So we still owners still making their way through. So we've got 24% of the threshold in terms of we can or cannot commence. So we're just going to go along with tikanga, and we know that the other owners will be here soon, and then we'll be able to meet the threshold. We're not quite there, but I think we have enough to start. There's a good crowd here. There's more coming, as you can see, and so I'm quite confident that we will meet the threshold. So apologies and proxies. So just can anyone indicate the proxies that you have, so that we know as the trustees who? Yes. Yes. You got Sharon's proxy. Thank you. Yes. Kapai. Yes, received. Yes, Sharon Shea's proxy has been received. Kapai. So we'll just put that there. And then, and Karen Russell as well. And appointing Gayleen Wilson. Yeah. Kapai. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we receive those and acknowledge them. Okay, kapai. The agenda, so just the apologies, proxies, kua mana, kua rite, te āhuatanga ki tēnei wahanga o ngā whakahaere. So third part of the meeting now is the verification of the quorum. So as I said, we had 24%. How's it looking, Hannah? Yep. Okay. So as I said, there's sort of more owners coming. I'm thinking, if you're okay with it, I think we should just proceed and wait till we get to the number to make sure that we can verify the meeting. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here all day. Kia ora whaia. Yes, Auntie Susan? Is this to do with verification of the quorum? Mm. Yeah, I think, yeah, no, so noted, Auntie. Yeah, it's a good point. I think that we will look at that, and it does need to be changed. It is quite a high threshold. Okay, so just we'll continue with the hui. I'm just looking around to see if everyone's okay with that. If there's anyone that opposes us to continue. Okay, I'm well, in terms of voting, we need 30% threshold. Kia ora, Auntie Lo, good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I was hoping. Where's my auntie? She arrived yet? Here she is. Lovely to see you, Auntie. No mai. So we're hoping that by the sort of the next half hour, there has been indication that other owners are coming. They haven't all arrived. So we would like to or I'd like to recommend that we proceed, and we'll look back and over to Hannah now and then and see how we're going. But at this stage, no, we've only reached the 24% threshold. Okay, Tapai, is the live stream going now, Hannah? Live stream? Yep, we're out live amongst our. Well, I mean that's the other thing too. We've got a lot of our ones watching. So yeah. Nau mai hara mai koutou. E mātaki mai ana, the live stream. Tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou. Ngā uri o potaua rā wakuria peti nau mai haere mai. So we're going to just move forward gently, and we'll just keep revisiting that, and we'll come back to that. So just keep that in mind, eh? Thank you. Number 4, voting system to be used. Shows we have 2 options in terms of the voting system. Just making sure, also Auntie reminded me, thanks Auntie, that every person should have their voting paper form in front of them. If you haven't, please make sure that Hannah and the ladies have given that to you for your voting paper. Those that are the owners that can vote, your voting paper is also there on the table when you register. So if you need to get your paper, Auntie Lou, you can go up and get it. Just make sure everyone's got their papers. That's the AGM book. You've got the financial report as well, that you have your voting paper. And we also have 2 proxies today. And we have people representing them today. Okay. Now that this last part, really, before we get into the minutes of the previous AGM, is just to confirm how you would like to vote. Firstly, a show of hands, simple as that. Or 2, in terms of the shareholding, in terms of how much the shareholding you have in terms of your ability to vote. Poll voting, yes. So, so there's the suggestion of the poll vote. So that also depends on the 30% threshold. At the moment, if we go down the poll vote, we won't be able to move. So there is a suggestion, thanks Wendy, or the other one is show of hands. So it's just straight show of hands. That's the owners that can vote. They show their hands when we move in second resolutions in favour, aye, against, and also the show of hands in terms of voting for the election of trustees, which is coming at the end of the hui. So we've got, yes? Aroha, can you just stand up and say your name so that Hannah, so that was Wendy who spoke previously, Hannah, because she's taking the minutes.
Kia ora, ko aroha Rawson tōku ingoa.
Thank you.
With the hands voting and with the proxies, it's only beneficiaries who can vote,
Yeah,
correct?
that's what is. That's correct.
Ka pai, thank
Yeah.
you.
No, thank you. Good to have that clarification. Thank you, Aroha. So just making, so come in, so there's only two options to vote, the poll voting and show of hands. Auntie Susan, can we take the microphone to Auntie? So, okay. It's okay. Anyone else? We got to make sure. Auntie Lil? Yep. Yes. Show of hands. Okay. Kai thank you. I think I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to assume. Show of hands seems to be at this stage. Auntie Anne, you happy with that? Okay, thanks, Auntie Anne. Show of hands at this stage. Or we could. Yes. Show of hands. Okay. I'd like to suggest then, I'm hoping that everyone else is comfortable looking around the whare, making sure everyone's okay. Kia ora, kia ora, Auntie Kath. So the poll voting is really, firstly, Auntie, we have to get to 30%. We've only had 24% of this, and if we go down the poll end, we all vote. Yes, yes, we all vote, Auntie. You happy with that? Okay, thanks, Auntie Kath. Okay, that's excellent. I think generally, oh no, yes, Pātai, Uncle Ronald. Yep. Okay, that's so noted. Yep. Yeah, thank you. So we're still discussing that, Auntie Lil? Yeah, so kia ora. Okay, yep. Yeah. Good. Okay, all right then. Yes, Auntie Nawa? Okay. And I think the other thing too also is just really common sense and trust, to be honest. And this is the fifth AGM I've chaired, and we have had these issues, and we've continued because of the fact we're family and we trust one another. So we've tried everything that we can to get people out. We're live streaming today, so we're trying everything we can do to do sort of different platforms of communication to get it out to as many as we can. We can't force people to attend the AGMs, but we want them to come to the AGMs. All right? So I'm going to take responsibility as the chair and overall, and I think we need to proceed. I have faith with everyone that's present, that we trust each other. There are bigger decisions that we need to make in front of us in terms of the agenda, and from the consensus so far, with the deliberations that have occurred, I'm feeling the sense that everyone's happy to proceed generally. There's only one that has an issue, but the rest have not shown that they don't disagree to continue. Because it's a collective. Individuals have their own right to express how they feel. But this is about reporting back to you. This is about being accountable. This is about presenting our work that we've done for the year. This is about the financial report and looking at what we're planning to do for next year. That's basically all we are doing. If there are some bigger issues that we need to address, really it's the election. Probably there's the bigger one at the end when we select a new trustee to come and join us here on the trust. Okay, so I'm going to proceed as the chairman, and I have faith and trust in each of you that we can do this as a family, that we can actually get through the things that we need to do. If there are some issues that are concerning, we'll pause and stop. We'll talk it through till we get to a place where we're happy with that, and then we'll continue again. Okay, so let's work, please, let's work together. I need your support because there's so many issues that we need to present to you as our update to you as the owners of our trust. Okay, how's it going, Hannah? We're getting there. See, as I was trying to say, just have faith. Uncle Winere's Karakia is very powerful this morning. So, whai Māori there. So it's going to come. We're 29% there. It's 30%, and we're over the line. Geez, I'm starting to sound like Biden and Trump. Anyway, kia ora, Biden. I think he's. Okay, Auntie's checking the trustee. So we're just Auntie Nawa, just making sure. So we actually will proceed, okay? And there's been, are you moving, Auntie, that it'll be a show of hands in terms of voting? So this is all I'm focusing on right at this point. So I'd like to move from the chair that the decisions we make will be voted with a show of hands. Is there a seconder? Auntie Lil, those in favour say aye. And anyone against? Passed. Okay, thank you. Excellent. Can we please go to the minutes of the last hui of the AGM? Aroha mai. He mai mai aroha e te rangatira Kiritoha o te pirirakau e te pau tu te reinga o ngā tirangi nui, ko koe te whakakanuhitanga, o tātou ngauri, o pōtau a rawakoria peti. Hoki wairua maira Kiritoha. Ki tēnei hui a tau, ko koe tōku ari-aritanga, ko koe tōku ruruhau, e te pau o te whanau, e te paunuku o te iwi, te tahu Kiritoha, ko te koe rā tēnā, te waka o tā ki te mu. Hoia te rapanga nuku, hoia te rapanga rangi, piki whakarunga, Kiritoha, ki te tihi o mahua, e koro o ki tō moana o tauranga, e koro Kiritoha, te unga mai o ngā waka, kai te mamaira wa tonu tia mou e koro e mai e koro Kia ora tātou. Can I please just ask everyone if we could be up standing for a moment of silence, please, just in recognition of Kiritoha's passing. Thank you. Kia ora tātou. Kua rite. Thank you. Moi mai e koro. Moi mai. Okay. Everyone okay? Auntie, all right? All right? Numia? Auntie Sarah, you fellas all right? Auntie Jan? Jen? Okay. All right then, can we have me huri atu tātou ki ngā miniti o te rāhui, please. So we can just turn to the minutes of the last AGM. I'll give you a couple of minutes, hey? Just go through that. Couple of minutes. Okay, can I please bring your attention, Whānau, to the minutes of the previous annual general meeting that was held last year, the 20th of October 2019. So just going through firstly the corrections. So those that were present will remember, hopefully, but if not, just take your time, okay? So we just go through the first page. It just really basically shows the Mihi, the introductions, the trustees, the orchard report. I'm going to take time so that everyone is absolutely fully informed of what happened at the last hui. So just take our time together, eh? Please. Thank you. Okay, yep, just working through that. Unless there's any questions, really to do the corrections, eh? Just the corrections first. And after we've corrected them, then second part, we need to approve them that they're true and correct at least. From there, we can have some matters arising. Any questions or points of clarification? Okay? Okay. So the meeting started at 11. There was the sort of general business issues that were discussed. It came up page by page. Okay, we looked at the quorum and the voting system to be used at that hui. And it was deja vu, Auntie. It was a show of hands, Auntie Lil. Was show of hands at that one too. Moved and seconded by you and I today. Okay. We're 32%, just informing you all, we are now at 32% threshold, kua mana te hui. We can proceed. Oh, yeah. 32%? Oh, no. Oh, sorry, Auntie. Aoraha mai. That was the last week. Okay. I thought I had 32%. Okay, just going through. Aroha mai, disregard that. There's the financial report. We had grants and distributions. 0.7. Okay, there was a 0.9 or 0.8. 0.9, the chairman's report. Trustee review. And number 10, we broke for lunch at 1, and we came back, and then we continued on page 8. Sorry, the trustee review. Okay, proxy voting was discussed. Trustees remuneration. Trustees nomination. Note we have a trustees vacancy and we'll be appointing hopefully someone today. Looking forward to that. Okay, 12, general business. And it was a long hui, was finished at 20 to 4. So this is, and Uncle Harold closed the hui with the Karakia. Are there any sort of corrections firstly, please, this part? Any corrections at all? It's just corrections. And then we can discuss once we approve. So these are the corrections of the minutes of the last AGM. Morning. That's where we are. So the corrections for the last AGM meeting last year, that's where we are, Auntie, at this stage in the meeting. So you need to note where those changes are, and what page and what number. So that's fine. If you need to make changes, kei te pai. That's what the corrections are about in terms of making sure. So if there's corrections, can you please just refer us to which number, which page, which paragraph, so that Hannah and the rest of the whānau here gathered can hear and also make sure that the changes being suggested are correct. So you may have a recollection of it, but then the rest of those that were at the hui also have to confirm it. So it's a collective agreement on it, together, in terms of our minutes. Okay? So that's any corrections at all? But please point to where it is and why and the changes that you're seeking. Auntie Anne, did you have a few there? Can someone please give Auntie Anne the microphone? Thank you, young man. Itu, Auntie, so we just take it stage by stage. Itu? Yeah. Okay.
My name is Anne Hill, and I just want to say about the trustees.
Corrections in the minutes, Auntie? So it has to be corrections in the AGM minutes, please. What page are we on?
Is on page 10.
Okay, page 10, yes?
Yeah. When we had the new trustees appointed. Total to and Phyllis Tangitū Carey.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And Phyllis was appointed on to the Tangitū Whānau Trust.
That's correct, Auntie, yes.
Yeah. But that was fine, but I just want to say that it always has been that you have one from each different whānau. And at the moment, they're all one whānau, and I don't think that's fair. It's all one Tangitus, they're all Tangitus from one whānau.
Okay, so just noting that, Auntie, but it's that procedurally, in terms of a correction, technically it's correct. So I just note, yeah, just encourage
I have no
other.
problem at the time of the day. I'm just stating,
Yes.
saying that we shouldn't have all one family on the trust. It should be some from other families as well.
Yeah,
Not just one family.
that's right. And one of the and we need to keep encouraging families to put people forward in terms of the elections and trustee positions when they come available. Yes, I totally agree. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Auntie Lil?
I just support what Auntie Anne
So
said
yeah.
because there
This
was
is
a
corrections, so just reminding everyone.
about what she was saying about whānau, because there was an incident where someone else complained and we all supported that one member from each whānau go on to the trust, and that didn't happen this time. So hopefully we will get it, because there are
Yep.
4 other whānaus missing.
Ka pai, so
I just want to ask you what happens to matters that are tabled or are handed to you in this case at an AGM. Where's it dealt with? Because it's not in the book, but I did hand them to you. You want me to tell you what it was about?
yeah, no, those matters are then forwarded from here to the trustees. We discuss them, and from that, if there's an action point that can be dealt with at our level, which generally it is, then we take the appropriate action.
Okay,
So this is
does
a
that
correction.
cover-
This is what I want to. I might have to.
This is
A point of
correction.
order, Auntie, in terms
This
of
is
the
a correction
corrections
because I
in the
handed
minutes.
it in at the last AGM meeting,
Mhm.
and it's not in the minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, and
Yeah.
actually I handed it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can
So
you
it's
just put that correction in?
One of them was about questioning
Yeah.
how 2 beneficiaries got succession to extra land,
Oh, yes.
which was recent, and the other was
Yeah.
a trustee at that time writing to Wellington to put her father in to name the sea at the back here, when it was actually Uncle Slabby that set up Tangitū Whānau Trust. And I wanted some explanations about that, please.
Yeah, that we've that's still being under discussion.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that needs to be sorted so that we can move forward.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Auntie. Any other any other corrections in the minutes before we move and approve and then have matters arising? Okay, so could someone that was at our last AGM, if you are happy with the minutes, that they're true and correct, just noting Auntie Anne and Auntie Lil's comments, thank you. Someone move that they're true and correct, and adding with what Auntie Lil and Auntie Anne has said. So moved by Auntie Sue, thank you. Someone second, there was Rangi? Thank you, Rangi. Okay, any further? Okay, just having a bit of sound problem here. Those in favour say aye. Those in favour say aye to the minutes. Against? Kopai. Too much karakia in that microphone, Uncle. Okay, we're moving on. Is there any from there the matters arising? So if you want to also, if not, we can move on, but we'll wait if there's any. So the resolution that the minutes of the last AGM 2020 report are a true and correct record of the AGM meeting held 20th of October 2019. It's been moved and approved, and everyone is happy with that. Thank you. Any matters arising from those minutes? Just give a minute, eh? Just have a me whakaaro here. Can I just bring your attention before we move further? So we haven't at this stage got the required threshold. It's at 29%. 29.6, we're not over the line. So we legally can't proceed. But we can proceed, and we can update you and inform you, and if someone isn't happy with that, then they can take that to the Māori Land Court. Because all it is us reporting back to you and then making a decision for a new person of our whānau to be appointed a trustee. At the moment, we haven't reached the threshold in terms of the polling. We haven't got enough of us here. So again, just keeping everyone fully informed every step of the way. And we haven't met the quorum either. Just we haven't got the numbers, Auntie.
Kia ora tātou. Just in terms of the trust deed, we've got to have 10 beneficial owners that equate to 30% of the shareholdings, and we've only got 29.6, so it's sort of both aren't. But we can proceed, and what will happen once, if there's any dispute or any need for it to go to the court, the judge will decide. It'll be noted that there wasn't a quorum, and they'll decide. Oh, we've got it.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Tēnā koe. Taihoa. E te atua, kai te whakamoimiti mātou kia koe, mō tēnei taonga ko hou mai tia. Āmene. Thank you, Lord, that we've now got the threshold and we can proceed. We have 30, we're over 30%. So we legally can proceed now. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie, for that. Matters arising, so we're legal beagle. Okay. Correspondence. Oh. Okay. Hannah, E2, can you just announce what's just happened again now? Okay. Aroha, I saw you up on your feet. Did you have an... Where is Uncle JR? I thought he was there. Oh, there's Uncle. We only need one more person.
Although, Just to say we can proceed, we can haere tonu with the hui as Pauroto said. It's just when it comes to the voting, and we can continue to vote for an additional person too, but it's just being mindful that kore ko te quorum.
Thank you. Matters arising? Are you okay to proceed? Can I just have a show of hands of the everyone that's here that you're okay to proceed, please? Hands up. Those who want to proceed, hands up, please. Oh, we've got one more. Oh. Homai te paki. I hope. Oh. Yeah. Mike. Okay. Matters arising. There must be no matters arising because I've been sort of re-asking over the last 10 minutes. I'm not going to assume. Okay, just going back to, we're going to proceed anyway, and I have faith that we're going to get over the threshold. We're only one person short. So try and get some of your relations to come, please, if they're close by. We need one more person. Okay, matters arising up to page, I'm going through it again. Page 5. Page 6, page 7, page 8. So there's financials there, page 9. Proxy voting discussed. Page 9. Any matters arising? Page 10. Page 11. Kamutu. Correspondence. We've just received those proxies. Those are the correspondence today. And just the corrections that Auntie Anne and Auntie Lul have mentioned in the minutes of the previous hui that has been addended to the minutes. So that's now been recognised also, Auntie Lul. Okay. I'd like to, could someone please, I'll move from the chair that we receive the proxies. Second, Auntie Lul. Thank you, Auntie Lul. Those in favour say aye. Against, those are the correspondence in. There's no correspondence out. So the correspondence is done. Thank you, Auntie Phyllis. Okay. The presentation today. Oh. Aroha. Oh, there's a letter. Did you want to? To whom it may concern, this is to the Secretary, I give permission for my name to be nominated for trustee on the Tangitū Whānau Trust. I have completed the training I have experienced. I have run my own business and I sold it as an ongoing concern. I am honest and upfront. Tangitū Whānau Trust needs sorting out for all of our whānau concerned, etc. So we've received that. Mihi from Auntie Lul. That's that one. Thank you. And as we know, we have Sharon Shea also, who's a nominee for trustee as well. So it's just receiving her letter and correspondence. And Christy Lee, also her nomination. Christy Lee Ngā hui a Tangitu, she has also her correspondence in. We'll be receiving her as well. So can we, Auntie Lil and I will receive all of those correspondence first. Just to note. Yeah, it's Auntie Lil with the claim for payment that was raised on the 15th of October. So they're the issues that are there in the letter. So I think we will receive that, Auntie Lil. We'll receive all the correspondence coming in from yourself and refer those to the next trustees week to be discussed. Okay, correspondence in, moved by the chair, seconded by Auntie Lil. Those in favour say aye. Those against? And ko mana. Okay. Chairman's report. Thanks, Auntie. So we're going straight into it now. So each of the chairs of our portfolios, Uncle Gussie, Uncle Wenere, Auntie Phyllis, they'll be presenting as well. And we also have Sika here doing their report. So I think Sika can go after me. Right? Okay. So we'll bring my report up. Thanks. I'll come out over here to you, eh? So you've got the full report there. What we've decided to do is really take the salient points out of the reports and really highlight the things that are important for us to feed back to you all. So there's quite an excitement really happening amongst our whānau. Over the last few years, there have been a lot of our family who are wanting to return back home. No reira kai te mihi ki tērā whakaaro nui. A koutou e mana kohia nei ke hoki mai koutou ki te wā kāinga. Awesome. The papa kāinga has been something that's been in place for some time. As you know, we have some of our papa kāinga sections on this side of the marae and also on the other side of the trust. So those papa kāinga lands, I think there's about 8 sections that have been there for some time, certainly before this administration, and there are already families that are living on there now. So it's certainly something that's not new, but since then till now, there's been a huge interest of our rangatahi, of our kuia and koroua, and you, the descendants of Potaua, that are wanting to come home. And we fully support that. It's an important thing to try and provide a solid foundation, connection to our people back home, to the whenua. And I would like to say that with that, the trust, we are offering the whānau to return back to build on the land. So I just wanted to note that point. Relations and investments. So when our trust came in to look after your assets on behalf of you, our buildings, our land, our kiwi fruit, we were in 2015, the whole valuation of the Tangitū Whānau Trust was $3.6 million. In terms of today, and Uncle Gussie will cover a lot of that in his portfolio in terms of the investments for us, we are now at 6.5 million as a trust. So I think we've done quite well in the last 4 or 5 years to try and increase that. So those are some of the highlights. The last sort of one here is the series of wānanga that we've held. It was one of our trust's desire that if we're going to encourage our people to come home, we need to share with them the history, their whakapapa. Does everyone know that the vision, the principal vision of our trust is to enable our trust to be unified as the descendants of Potaua. That is the paramount vision that was set down by Uncle Slabby and others. We've done the best we can to maintain that vision. Kia whakokotahi ai ngā uri o Potaua rao ko Riapeti. The wānanga have really helped our rangatahi. This weekend we went to Whakamarama. We looked at all the sites up there, Uncle Mihi's homestead. We looked at Pukitoki, the place where the last of the Bush campaign, where Pirirako stood its ground against the Crown. We looked at the history of Tūtarenga, the ancestor, and the areas that he lived in while he was alive 600 years ago. We did all our whakapapa connections to Ngaitarangi through our Kuia Riapeti Whokna, and also Ngāti Pukenga, and our connections to the wider Tauranga Moana. We also learnt the history of our Ngāti Haua connections in 6 of the wānanga that we've had. So the 6 wānanga, we've had them here on the orchard so that people can see where the orchard is, because actually we found out a lot of people didn't know where the orchard is. The second wānanga, we went to meet our relations in Tauranga Moana as a whole. Third wānanga, we went to Matamata to learn our history, our whakapapa connections at Ngāti Haua. The fourth wānanga we had at Katikati, and all our connections and relationships there. The wānanga last year was at Matakana. And the wānanga that we had this weekend was full of our rangatahi. So on behalf of our trust, we're really pleased that we are providing not only dividend payouts and grants, but actually building the unity of the vision of our trust, bringing the descendants of Potaua together. And our trust are really pleased with that development. It also, just in finishing, developing our te reo Māori capacity, our cultural knowledge and history of who we are, and our tikanga practices as Ngāti Ranginui, as Pirirako, and as part of the haukainga here at Tūtarenga Marae. This was something that Kiritoha, as our kaumātua of our marae and of our whānau and on the trust, was really strong in terms of promoting amongst us. So I'd like to thank all the whānau that have been attending. I was talking to Auntie Sue yesterday, and actually it's been quite helpful for a lot of our kids who are studying their pepeha, their research, and actually with all the 6 books we've got, she said, I said, Auntie, how big is the information? We've collated all together through our trust as an initiative to build the cultural capacity and support the vision of unity. She said, boy, it's about that thick. It's a thesis. So that's a good thing. We've got a lot of our history and our kōrero that now has been part of our trust. Us, you, me, together, sharing with our rangatahi. So it's also about the cultural, the spiritual, the environmental, the land, and also the economic side. So we've been trying to balance those things up on your behalf. So our trustees have been really working hard. They're really committed to you, that we know that it's a privilege and an honour to work for you to the best of our ability to ensure that we meet our vision. I'd like to acknowledge the work that each of our trustees do, and that's the reason why each of us have been appointed. We know that family representation is important, but it's also about commitment. It's also about love for our people. It's all about sort of different skills that we bring, different paradigms of thinking that we bring, both at home from the haukainga, and also those of us who are the descendants of Potaua living afar. So that there's a strong relationship from those of us that live away with those of us that live at home. And actually, there shouldn't be any divide between us. So we've been working to ensure that our elders are looked after, acknowledged, and also our rangatahi inspiring in terms of the vision of what they're trying to do in improving their quality of life. So with the committees underneath the actual trust itself, and it's in your book, we have the portfolios which the portfolio holders will speak about today. Each has a strength, and each does their mahi for us on our behalf, for all of us, so that we can achieve all of the objectives, the responsibilities of the trust as a whole. So, for example, there's the finances. There's also the environmental issues. There's the kaumātua tikanga Māori issues. And then the finances, those are the investments. There's also the housing. Can I say that we've noted that a lot of our housing and our building for our kaumātua have needed upgrading, and we have mentioned that in the past. So housing is an important thing. Papakainga, policy development. So each of the trustees work collectively together in their portfolios to do the work that is required. The relationships that we have with Sika, it's important. Good to see Sika with us here today. With the other Māori orchards, without the relationships that we have going external, it makes it quite difficult in terms of positioning ourselves as a whānau trust in terms of the kiwi fruit business. So we have representation at different meetings all the time on your behalf as well. Not just the meetings of the trust, but external with other kiwi fruit organisations, both Māori and non-Māori. So our trustees are working hard on that. So we have established, because 5 years ago, the unity issue was one that was certainly an issue that we wanted to improve as this trust on your behalf. One time we were in court for 4 years. Now we're not. The last 5 years, I can say that there's a spirit of working together in unity. There's a spirit of respect. There's a spirit of innovation to meet the vision and working together as one family. I wanted to acknowledge that with the trust. Thank you. The trustee portfolios, they're going to talk to those straight after me. The allocation of the portfolios as per the skills and I said expertise and experiences. And of course, Hannah joins the team in terms of outsourcing, and the KPMG are still providing the financial expertise for and on behalf of our trust, as well as Fred Cookson in terms of the auditing of our accounts. We felt that it was important in terms of my report today to just inform you that we need to have the internal expertise when it comes to the auditing of our accounts, when it comes to the expenditure of our accounts. And we had a strategic planning day this year as well in terms of prioritization of our budgeting for next year, in terms of key priorities for next year. And we had an excellent strategic planning meeting not too long ago as trustees. So there's a strong unity amongst us. And there was the spirit of our kaumātua Kiritoha too, and the haukainga that enabled that to also happen with us. Grants allocation, I'm nearly there, May for 2020, so you can see that. And I think Auntie Phyllis can talk a bit more if you have questions on that. That's her portfolio. And we are recommending this year that a dividend, we've already supported it, we need you to confirm that another dividend distribution payout be paid out to all our owners of 50,000. I'm nearly there. This is my last slide. Okay, the whakamarama development. So it's been always something that Kiritoha over the last 5 years has been putting on our agenda at least as an idea for each of you to consider. Now, as we get more people wanting to come home, we support that 100%, but we realize that we have limited allocation of land that's available if a lot more want to come back to live. As part of those principles you'll see there, it's about equity. It's about allowing any of our people that come home as a descendant of Potaua to come home and build at home and be at home. But with the current papakainga that was set up before me and our administration, we realised and we reviewed it that we need more land to be able to provide that opportunity for our whānau to come home. We also want to diversify and actually create a lot more growth in terms of our economic potential. But to do that, we need more whenua. Our whenua is landlocked here, really, and it's limited in my last sort of part of my report. So we've thought about what Kiritoha has said. We would like you to consider as just an aspirational idea today in closing in my chairman's report. You can see me and Uncle Chris here. It was taken just before Kiritoha died. Kiritoha had asked me, I went over to spend time with him like everyone did at his house at Raropua. And Uncle Chris took me around to see some of the things that our karaua had asked us as the trustees to consider. And the land is around about 126 acres. You can see the view there. Auntie Anne, you've been to where Uncle Mickey's house was, eh? When Uncle Mickey's... So this is further up near the bush side. But the view, that's all of our whenua that you can see here behind me and Uncle Chris. So the only owners in there are us. So the idea is this, in closing for you to consider, please, that if we want more housing opportunity, which the Trust does, we need more whenua. So I'm just going through my report, Auntie, and if we want more development in terms of economic growth, we need more whenua. That's what we're saying. So the land, Kiritoha, so this is an aspirational thing, and part of the wānanga, that's why it's important to get you to come home when we have these wānanga, to come out with us, to feel the land, to see the land. Because at an AGM meeting, it's very hard to explain it, but when you've been there, took 3 days on the land, being in the river, looking at the mountains, you can feel and see it. It's a huge difference than just looking at it here on the screen in my report. As a chairman, 10-minute report, in respect. So at least there's alternative ideas in terms of what we're trying to look at to cater for the needs of our people. So we have an aspiration to consider, because the land itself would require us to call a meeting with us as the Tangitū Whānau Trust, because the owners are only us. Uncle Chris has been living on there since Uncle Mickey died. Uncle Mickey was the one that held the mana for us as a whānau on that whenua, his house, and then Uncle Chris was brought up with him as his tamaiti. And Uncle Chris and his boys are on the farm, and they're doing a beautiful job. The gorse and that's been cut down, the springs and that have been looked after. Our family even have their own camping ground there. So there's been a lot of work. It's not as if there's nothing being done up there. There has been a lot of work being done by individuals who are Tangitu descendants who work hard. And we witnessed and saw this yesterday when we were on the land. That's how we know. And we really appreciate the work that Uncle Chris and them do. So in finishing with that, we would like to anyway put the idea for you to think about today, that we look at amalgamating the whakamarama land as an option into the Tangitū Whānau Trust. Approximately 130 acres of land, and are all the same owners. We've checked that out. It was the dream of our karaua Kiritoha to see this dream eventuate, in the near future. So that's something that's aspirational, and it's a consideration for each of us today. Thank you for listening to my report. I think I got under 20 minutes, as I told Auntie and Uncle and the trustees. But those are the salient points really I wanted to cover in my report. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Puti, puti, kane hana e, maku koe kato e, mehe mea ko koe, taku tau pumau, piri rau ai tēnei uma e. Puti, puti, kane hana e, maku koe kato e, mehe mea ko koe, taku tau pumau, piri rau ai tēnei uma e. Ko te mauri o wēnei kōrero ka mau ka hono, whakahono te atura, te toinuku, te toirangi, tūturu, whakamau ai, kia tīna, tīna, uiei, taike e. Okay, I'm going to go and sit back down, Auntie Lil, if I could, and we're going to take any comments on my report. But after that, Sika will report to you, and then the rest of the trustees will do their portfolio reports to you. Okay, so kia ora tātou. So this is the time for everyone to make comment and have input too, eh? All right? Auntie Lil.
That was a really good report, thank you. And I have to say that you're the first one that's given me as a beneficiary the rights to come back here and put a place on my land. For 24 years since my husband died, I applied for land, which we have down here, and never ever got the okay to build on it, but we got offered a unit, a flat, a kaumatua flat, which I turned down because I still worked. So I want to say thank you, and there are a lot of others who have been waiting for that chance as well. The second point I want to make, I was on the whakamārama committee as well, and I don't know what happened, somebody chucked me off. There's three committees up there. There are 3 lots of land up there, and I'd like to ask the trustees to check it all out, because there's one big block up there and there's only 1 or 2 whānau that are on that block. And I only found that out because my father's name is on there and he came from Matamata. So I'd like that to be followed up, please, and get straightened out, and wonder why all the rest of our whānau here are not on there, but a few are. Kia ora.
Yeah, thank you, Auntie Lil. Excellent response. Thanks. Yeah, no, we note that, and I received that as it's been given to us today. Thank you. So we'll do all of those things you've requested. Okay, thank you. Auntie Anne, you. Yes. Kia ora, Auntie. Kia ora, Auntie. Ka pai. Yeah. Okay, with that, yes?
I'd just like to ask if there's any account on whakamārama. Way back there was always we owed the council money up there. Is it still
Oh, and then Jen, can some of the family help me? But we do plan to do a whole proper thorough report on everything. So it's just a conceptual idea right now. Auntie Anne, Auntie Lil, and the trustees will consider everything you've said, and we'll come back with a thorough sort of response, in the future. Keep you fully informed about it. Okay, Uncle Ronald.
My point is just that with a number of owners in there, and we're asking here, or are we asking here to consider the bringing that under the trust umbrella? I think that rather than just having 30% shareholding or whatever we've got here now is not enough to do that. I think we should actually look at, it's a good idea, but look at a higher percentage of whānau to actually go ahead with this. To me, a third is not enough for us. We have to have a lot more so that we can all decide properly and know that, yep, this is our vision. And the big key thing is our. So that's all my korero is about. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Uncle. Okay, totally agree, Uncle. Yeah. Auntie, Lil?
One more point. The Whakamarama block cannot be joined with the Tangitū Whānau Trust because there are other owners on that block up there. And that was passed and checked through the lawyer when I was a trustee. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, yeah. So now we're going to do, in principle, I'm hoping that you would support the idea of us just to scope it out, have a look at the land and the owners, all the issues. What we probably will do is come back to you once we've had a full discussion on that as the trustees. And if we do support it in principle, then I think we need to have a full sort of engagement process with our owners. As well, some of the owners of Whakamarama came here today. Yes, I spoke to them before the meeting, aunties. Some of the taraus and the Mihi whānau, they are really excited with the idea of this sort of venture working together with the other owners in and around our part of the block. But I said, this is the wrong hui. We haven't had time to talk about it, but I'm only going to propose the idea today and see what our owners think, and then the trust will then have a bit more discussion on it. So there is keenness and interest in it from the other owners. So that's a good start. Thank you. Can I move my report? Move my report be received. Someone second that? Who's that? Auntie Sue? Thank you, Auntie Sue. Those in favour say aye. Against? And pass. Thank you. And Sika. And then after Sika, all the other reports will be done. Thank you so much.
Kia ora everyone. My name's Reese. I'm from Sika. So we manage the kiwi fruit orchard, and we've just recently taken management of the avocado block as well. So I'm not sure whether there's enough copies to go around for everyone for my report. But first and foremost, health and safety. So there's been no notifiable incidents on the orchard, which is always a good thing. So just looking at an overview of the production for the last couple of years. So 2019 and 2020 have been interesting years in terms of weather conditions, really. It's been hot and dry through the summer, which is a period where our fruit tends to do most of its growth. So compared to 2018, the last 2 years, fruit size has been smaller, and that's just due to the dry. Also, industry issues with sooty mould that's caused by insect pests. It's just a black mould that turns up on the fruit. And of course the 2 consecutive dry summers have helped with that, unfortunately. But in terms of returns, actually the last 2 years have been a lot better than 2018, which has come as a bit of a surprise. Better year 2019 for Haywood, and last year was better for gold. So in the last 2 years, orchard returns have averaged about 759k, which is right up there with some of the top producing orchards across the industry. Yeah, 2019, 20 and 2020 results much better than 2018. And a lot of this, the last couple of years, the improvements in the orchard have accounted for a lot of that. So just talking about the orchard operations. So the main, well, the larger improvement projects such as reconfiguring the males, which is what we call a strip male configuration, so every second row is male in both the green and the gold. Boundary clearing, so just down the back of the waka block has all been cleared out of scrub and stuff like that. And even the shelters, Daniel and your orchard manager and his crew have been busy clearing the shelters themselves of host plants for pests. A lot of the orchard work, we'll also have to thank Doral and his team and Nui. They're fantastic as well, working in with Daniel through the orchard, doing most of the orchard work, to be honest. So over the last 3 years, there's been that work that I've just mentioned earlier. So carrying on over the next sort of couple of years and ongoing really is supporting the development of the males that were grafted last year and the year before that. So they'll take a couple of years to really develop fully and help further with pollination. And monitor in-orchard pests and the habitats, so respraying where we need to. Maintaining that buffer zone, again, mulching and spraying the weeds, keeping them under control, and monitoring vine health. And there's still a ag beam, which is the steel structures. There's a little bit of that to go in the orchard as well. The Te Mara block with the avocados. So we've just taken management of those this year. I understand there was a small yield or a medium yield from just recently. We didn't pack that fruit. That was I think A1 avocados. So in the next 12 months, our focus really is on development of the existing trees. There's also been about 20 or 30 more trees planted. So the view is to look at international export for that fruit in the next 12 months. So hopefully 2021 there'll be export fruit going over instead of local market. And that's just around improving and maintaining tree health and productivity. So that plan includes regular tree nutrition, just fertilizing, and an annual pruning program for the trees just to open them up a bit, keeps them healthy and addresses the long-term production. Pest monitoring is also, if you've got avocados and you want to export them internationally, you have to be under a pest monitoring program. So that includes a bit of pest spraying, but that's only if there's a large amount of pests identified. It's not a blanket sort of thing. And yeah, like I say, there's been some new trees planted just to increase the footprint in there. A quick seeker update. And this is mainly around fruit movements. So as of this week coming, we'll pretty much be all shipped. Last week there was about 7,000 trays of gold left to ship. This is conventional gold. And about 120,000 trays of green left, so we'll be all done. Probably want to go back to the office on Monday. So pretty much 99% of our fruit green and gold is gone. 84% of the entire Sika inventory has been shipped. So there's other varieties in there that we pack and grow. Probably the only biggest thing we've got coming up is we're looking at building another pack house behind our head office in Te Puke. The council is putting in an on-ramp to the superhighway right behind our current position, so it just makes sense to build another pack house. All the packing facilities will be looking at increasing packing capabilities with all this new gold coming on. For the industry, there's a few changes in the industry. Zespri's working very hard to keep just to keep things going along. They've made some changes in terms of maturity, clearance and testing, things like that. Probably things that would bore most of you, but I find quite exciting. But European pricing and pricing in general, sales has been really good internationally. New Zealand kiwi fruit. China plantings have been an issue for some growers. So in China there's approximately about 2,000 hectares of New Zealand gold being grown illegally there. So Zespri is actually looking at working with those growers, or attempting to work with them. So that's a bit of a tricky situation. Market's still reporting good overall quality. So in a dry year, it's actually quite funny that the fruit is actually in really good condition when it arrives overseas, which we're really happy about. And just lastly, I'd just like to congratulate Whetu Rolleston. She's been appointed as the Deputy Chair of NZKGI, so that's pretty cool. So it was a brief report, but are there any questions? Well, yes. So the idea of going under management is that we can look after the trees, and so I think that's why some new trees have been planted. No, I don't know. No. Good.
We're looking at alternatives. I just want to know what that means. Like, there's nothing in the report about it, about what that process is of actually what the looks like, and also with regard to on the page about the orchard operational plan, mentioned about spraying and mulching, and you're checking the vine health. What about the soil health and the long-term prospect for that soil? And then just in the bigger picture with the international market, how do you think it's looking with the impact of COVID-19 on the economies of the countries around the world? I feel like it must surely be going to have an effect sooner or later. And what is Sika doing about looking at that, forecasting that, and looking at alternatives and diversifying what to do with that kiwi fruit? Please.
That's a lot of questions, but I can answer those. So in terms of high cane, the industry is actually, and the EAP is looking at alternatives for high cane. So there's a governmental input into that. They're overseeing that. So NZKGI and Zespri are involved in those discussions. So high cane as a whole in New Zealand's being reviewed. The alternatives, there are alternatives, oil and copper together. That's what the organic growers use instead. So that we're able to use that now if the trust wants us to grow that way. It means growing organically, and there are some financial considerations the trust will need to have a look at. So there's that in terms of COVID, and the sales of fruit in particular have been good because of COVID. Sorry. Overseas, they are looking at high potency vitamin C products, and kiwi fruit's one of the got one of the highest levels of vitamin C in a fruit. So it's like 2 or 3 times higher than oranges. So particularly in Europe, particularly green kiwi fruit, good sales because of that fact. Soil health, in October we started, we launched a soil health program. So what I can do is get our tech team to come out, take samples. What we're really looking at probably is the level of copper in the soil. And we can change the spray programs and things to suit, but we can have a look at, there's a cost involved in that, so that's something I'll have to discuss with the trust. But we can certainly do that, yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, so we look at the orchard in terms of maturity areas, and so there were maturity areas that were in the Kiwi Start. Yes. Yep. So yeah, there were blocks. Yeah. No, there were blocks that were picked early. Any other questions?
I'd like to move the Seeker's report be received. Someone like to move? Thank you, Aroha. Seconder? Auntie Anne. Thanks, Auntie Anne. Any further discussions or questions on the Seeker's report? And Kumana. Thank you so much, Ewa. And Aroha, thank you for those questions. So we'll take those into consideration as well, and we'll be in contact with you 2021. Yeah, thanks. Okay, kapai. You most welcome to join us for lunch too. We're hoping to finish by 1 o'clock and moment. So he's going to do the financial risk and audit report as the chairman of our Finance and Audit Risk Committee. Kia ora.
Tēnā rā, koutou te whānau. I've got 2 hats today. The first one will be Tracy Stoneham, and the next one will be mine. Tracy is the accountant, of course, and I'd refer you to, I don't like mucking around with these things. We'll get through them pretty quickly, but so get your questions ready, please. Page 24, have a look at page 24 of the report, and I'll go through the numbers with you. So it talks about our revenue over the last 3 years. And if you go to the kiwi fruit sales, you can see they're progressing upwards. And one of the reasons is that throughout the COVID period, the rock star export was kiwi fruit. It was the rock star. It's doing pretty well. It might have even helped to some extent to sort of save the industry and not at least make it get worse. So we're in the right game. I won't go through the whole lot other than just you can read the sort of the total revenue, the kiwi fruit, the avocados, the rentals, because that's the assets we own. And my next sort of little corridor is about the assets. So you can see, I'll just deal with 2020. You got the kiwi fruit sales, the avocado sales, which weren't much. It's cyclical. Just keep that in mind. It goes up one year, down the other. But I think Sika are doing a pretty good job. They've been cutting some of the older trees down for the future. And that's why a couple of them were cut down, because they don't bear much and they're 100 feet in the air. So much smaller ones. We have a few investments, and I'll talk about that with my next portai on. So, and all the rest of it's the accounting gobbledygook about depreciation and so on, and the costs. So look, I just want to turn you to the other page, because you might want to interrogate some of the costs on page 25. So just cast your eye down the costs, because it's a sum game of money in from kiwi fruit mainly, and the money out because of all the costs that we incur on your behalf. So you might want to take a bit of a look at that. Again, I just have a look if you've got any questions about some of those costs. I won't go through it. Lil, how can I help you? Yes, we had an approach from the Tangitū Whānau that the bathroom floor was rotten and there was problems right throughout. We decided to have a look at the other units similar. So we decided, and it was unplanned, to get on with it and fix it. So that's where it was, Lil. And we did a bit more too. We fixed up the rotting timber. We put out, look, I won't steal Wednesday's Sunday. We did other stuff, and I'll leave it to Wednesday to report on that. Yes, Aroha? Hey? So we restructured the way we pay ourselves, thanks to a motion at the last meeting. And so that's the result of the change. An honoraria is a payment made to the chair, a fixed sum per year. Auntie? Yes, it was. The motions are there, okay? Yep, it was. We didn't do anything without your approval. It was. Okay? And we can prove it to you later on, Auntie. Ronald. Yeah, so what we did was, we got a professional company to do a survey of salaries. We chose not to follow it because it was ridiculously high. So we dropped it down to something more realistic. The surveyor was a company from Te Puke, and they survey big companies and small companies, and we struck a sort of a medium in the middle that dealt with Māori trusts in particular, and that's how we came to this number. So again, we have the documents. I can ship them to you if you wish. Ron did. He moved it. It's all there. It's all recorded. Any other questions?
One of the other things we did take into consideration was, how do we best sort of be effective in terms of the money that we receive? I mean, we need to make sure that we have proper and always full monthly groups, which we do. We need to make sure that we have our strategic planning, which we do. We need to make, well, there's some You have to read your minutes. You have to make sure that you're there on time. Then we have to make sure that all the things that we discuss thoroughly to our satisfaction. And we have to, the meetings sometimes can be quite fiery because we don't always agree, and that's good. We have to have robust discussion and ensure that the best decisions that we make are for you. And if you think our decisions aren't the best, then this is the AGM opportunity for you to feedback to us. So what we've done is different this way, and I proposed the idea, was that we wanted to scale down the remuneration. After all, thank you for acknowledging the work. And at the last AGM, it was moved and seconded again to how we can improve our remuneration that's fair, but also is inspiring for us to do the work for and on behalf of the trust. So what we've decided to do is we have an honorarium. In the past, as Auntie Lou and others will remember, most of the trustees were paid per meeting. Turn up per meeting, and that included petrol, travel costs. What we've decided to do in terms of saving money is we've set an annual fee. And we have quite a few meetings every month. So what it does is it's a fixed fee that if we have 8 meetings, we have to turn up to those meetings. Every single week must be paid. Must be, yeah, and it actually works better. Yeah, it's working quite well, Auntie. This is the first time we've tried it. So we've made sure that it's cost effective. It isn't too expensive in terms of those costs. And that actually working for the money that we receive. Again, I would emphasize that it's very much a privilege to work for the trust. But actually, we are grateful that you at the last AGM acknowledged that. It's not really for us to say, oh, you're doing well. All we need to do is report back the best that we've done this year. And you have initiated review as who we're accountable for. Everything that we do to acknowledge the things that we've done. So we have a set fee, Auntie and Uncle, and that's paid for the whole year. And it seems to be a lot more cost effective than what it was in terms of getting paid per week. So we have a set fee. Each of the trustees is paid for the year, and we must attend all those meetings. And if the extra meetings, it's already been paid. If we have extra meetings beyond the meetings that we have, it's included in the honorarium, which includes travel as well. I just wanted to, it's actually quite good, it works well, and all of the trustees have actually turned up to the release. They were before anyway. It's not the money that's driving us. It's serving you that's driving us. But we want to be cost effective in terms of how we do this. Okay? So that's what I was talking about, just supporting Uncle. Probably so that just really informed, that's how we're looking at doing things differently in terms of cost effectiveness. That's how we pay the trustees and the remuneration.
Are there any other questions on the finances? So have a think about those, because I'm still going to stay here with the other portai, and I'll switch across to the risk portfolio that I look after. Pretty boring portfolio, really. It's just a matter of keeping an eye on the money, so I work closely with the accountant. She sort of sends stuff to me, and then we get the chairman to sign it off. So I'll just talk to it about the mix of assets that we have. It's almost all kiwi fruit, and that itself is a risk, and it's not a good risk to be having long term. At the moment it is, because as I said before, kiwi fruit's a bit of a rock star. It's doing really, really well, so well actually, that I hear that over in Rangitaiki they're going to get rid of their cows and put kiwi fruit in over there. So it's doing well, but really we need to mix it up. So what I've been looking at for 5 years now is something that's very, very different. Even the shares that we have are predominantly in Sika and Te Awanui Hukapak, all kiwi fruit. So if the nono fell out of kiwi fruit, then we not only lose our money from the orchard, but also from the return from Sika and Te Awanui Hukapak. So we bought a building. And it was pre-COVID, and when COVID came, what is really is that we're part of a syndicate. We are not going to pay $9 million. We didn't have it, so we paid one. So we're 1/9 owner of this venture. And when we had the COVID lockdown, we had to drop some of the rent a little bit. But the overall annual predictions prior COVID have still been met because, it was slightly different. It was a slight variance, but it was still a net gain of 7%. What do you get in your bank if you put your money in for cash at the moment? 2%? Not much. So 7's not too bad. So that's what we've done. So now, and it's only a small change really, but we're looking for something else as well. Whakamarama is an option if we choose to go down that track. But if anyone's got any suggestions, as to what they hear would be a good investment, just let me know, and we'll take a look at that. So, yes, Lil. Tell me what the something else is, please, so I can answer. It's coming up next one. That's the next. Finance and risk I'm doing today. Yeah,
because Tracy's not available today, she did tender her apologies for the hui. So just to say that after each AGM, we have to look at the portfolios again. So each of us have to say, look, we've done well in this portfolio. Maybe we need to look at doing something else in terms of our skills and experience. And Uncle's was in the grants. The last 2 years, he was the chair of the grants. And then I felt because of his expertise and knowledge in finances, and it's on, thanks, Andy. It's on page 20 in your report, 24, 20, yeah. We felt that Uncle's skills and knowledge and depth in bringing solid foundation of security for us, and his knowledge of finances would be best for us, for him leading us there. Especially when Uncle Gary became a councillor. So we lost Uncle Gary's expertise when he left us. And we trust Uncle so that kia koroa Kiritoha for any of the financial risks, any of the financial investments, Uncle now is the chairman and leads that for and on behalf of the trust. That's why it's all changed around. Sorry, I should have explained that in my report. It's my fault. Aroha mai.
Susan. Yes. It's in Palmerston North. It's called the Broadway. It has a mix of activities in it, which is good. There are long term. The best thing is that it's got some big government departments in there, and they stay there forever. Commercial, yes. They're a mix of individuals, companies. I can't tell you exactly. They've just got names. It doesn't say anything more than that. And they specifically off the top of my head, no, I don't. Yes, I think you should, and I can post you all the information. It's that thick, and I'm happy to post it to you, Susan. I can do that, yes, no problems. I mean, I was sure that through the person, we're 1/8. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so we invested $1 million and we get 7% on $1 million.
Good
every
question.
year. When you say so. Yes. Yes. So currently we get a return every month out of 7%. And if you're talking about the capital that we spent, when do we get that back? It's of our choosing, any time. And of course, if you're... Yes. 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 Yep. Yes. To answer Susan's question, you get it probably every year when we have this meeting, because the money goes into the bank every month and it just gets added to all the other money that comes in, and then the trust decides how to disperse that money. So it just sits in the bank until we disperse it. No, it wasn't that question. If you're talking about the capital gain, and I've been ignoring that because it is going up already. So we paid $1 million. It's worth about, to us, 1.2 already, and we haven't been in it long. Yep. But you're talking about the dividend, and that's every month? Yeah. So if you're saying when should we pull it out, it depends what's going on. If we decide to get into something else and we need some of that money, then we might cash it in. Yeah. Depends on that, Susan. Any other questions?
Angelo? Yes. So as part of the review that we had over the last year, part of that change was that we were able to invest on behalf of the beneficial owners to, and we report back through the AGM, which we're doing now. That's the process. So the trust deed was received, it was approved, and that was part of the change that we made. It gave us the ability to be able to look at a lot more investments for and on behalf of the trust. So there is, I think, 7%, I think we're getting per month return. So it will accumulate and it will add more to the money that we receive per month, per annum. And over time, I think you're right, it's around about 15 years. Yeah. 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 Kia ora.
12%, yes. Lil, I know where your concerns are. You're thinking that we don't have a mandate, is that right? It is, it's in the trust deed. It gives us the right. Let me tell you about what we're doing. We have people who work for us that check it out regularly. We're part of a group, and it's that group that manages it. They've got a manager in that group. No. Let me tell you another thing about how we invest. When you get into this sort of game, and you have to consult with the whole whānau, Māoris will get nowhere fast, because it's a matter of sort of progressing, not with indecent haste, but with knowledge. And if we've missed before, because they've said to us, here's an opportunity, and we said, rightio, we're going to talk to the whānau. Gone, finished. And that's been happening for 4 years now, finished. So we checked out the deed to ensure that we had a mandate to do the sort of things we're doing, and we do. The court will attest to that. So we're not sidestepping you fellas at all. We have to do what the deed says, and the deed, unfortunately, has been a disadvantage to us, because if you have to consult, by then the opportunity's gone. We think we've done okay. If you said sell it now, we'd make money off it now. Any other questions?
Yeah, it's a good point, Uncle, that if we wanted to sell our share, we would get 1.2 million back. But at the moment, we're getting good returns. So it's a recent investment. Look, I remind you that it's actually on page 17 of my chairman's report, If you look there, relationships and investments there. And I just wanted you to know, it says this, that during 2020, the trust by way of Tangitū Whānau Trust and Investment Limited, so that's myself and Uncle Gussie are on a Tangitū Whānau Investments Limited for the company. So any of those business decisions, Uncle and I do that on your behalf. So we've invested 1 million for a 14.6 share in Broadway Investments Limited, which is Robert Lee and Co. So Robert was part of the idea of this investment, and we fully supported it. There was a proper discussion with the potential investors at the time, proper meetings that were held. We looked at our own financial ability. Can we do it? Can we afford it? Can we not? And we decided, yeah, we can. And as Uncle said, we wanted to take some other sort of diversifying of our investment portfolio so that we could improve the opportunity. One, if we wanted to pull out of our shareholding, we can sell it and get our $1 million back. We can do that at any time. Two, we wanted to find other ways that we can create money, create revenue so that we can actually have our dividends payouts, that we can have our education grants, that we can do more for you. It's not all about kiwi fruit. We need to look at what other potential investments, and this is not a cultural and spiritual ancestral one now, it's purely economics. Yes, it's purely about money.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions about the investment or the finance, please? Yes, Aroha. Any other questions before I sign off? Kia ora. Thank you, JR.
Can I say thank you for the questions? Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity for us to have feedback and for us to actually try and respond to make sure that we're clear, that we're all clear about the decisions that we've made. So that's the financial report, the audited reports. I'd like to, and Uncle's report on the financial risk and audit. Feedback to you all. I'd like to move, Uncle, you want to remove your reports? Could someone please move? Uncle Ronald, second by Auntie Elena. Any further discussion on that? Those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Abstained? Auntie Lo. Kia ora tātou, Auntie Phyllis.
Ai tēnā hoki tātou. Wenaro and I are going to do a double act and we shouldn't take too long. I did just want to refer you to page 20 in terms of the trust meeting portfolio. So on our kaumātua and tikanga committee was Kiritoha, Wenaro, Wenare, Pauroto and Te Hiringa. Policy, procedure and distribution was Gus, myself, and want to acknowledge Jen for all the mahi that she did across all of the portfolios. So tēnā hoki koe cousin. Finance and Risk Committee is Gus, and the Asset Management, Te Hiringa, Kiritoha again was there, Wenare and Pauroto, and HR was Jen and Te Hiringa. So that was just to remind you of who those your trustees are. I also wanted to just touch on quickly from the financial report was the importance of ensuring that we try and get our unclaimed dividends sorted. For those whānau who need support in succeeding to the unclaimed dividends on page 31, I think we've got some forms as to the process, but if at any time you have any questions, please give any one of us a call and we'll be able to help you navigate that space. It can be fairly daunting. But my task in Wenaro is to look at the grants and distributions, and I want to mihi rawa atu kia koutou. In the last year, we allocated 50,000 payment for beneficiaries, and certainly at the end of our may well be that we move another motion to do that again. So that's a beneficiary contribution. We also have a well-established the education grant for those beneficiaries and descendants who want to study. And you'll see in the financial report on page 30, those of our whānau that we supported. And I have to say, we haven't extended our reach out to everyone as yet. So please encourage your whānau. If you're wanting to study, aha ko te aha, whether it's a certificate level or you're doing a doctorate, seriously consider putting in a tono to receive some support from the Whānau Trust. All of the policies for education, sport and cultural, tangihanga, and are all on the website. And if you have questions about how to apply, again, come back to any one of us. But you'll see on page 30, those are all the whānau that we supported in this past year, 2020. And certainly I'm hoping Aroha will get up and have a wee bit of a kōrero about her mahi. And Rangipare was also supported. There's a picture there of her. But just the education grant, supporting those of us who are doing any level of study, from certificate level right through to doctorate level, Haramaiki the Trust. One of the things that will be beginning to think about in the future is, can we or do we need to structure our educational grants in a certain way? For example, do we want to encourage more management capacity in the kiwi fruit industry, for example? Or should we be focusing on developing more people in governance? Or what specifically relating to our hapu should we be considering supporting? Currently, it's carte blanche, so anybody who's studying, because it's about supporting you to get a better education. The sporting and cultural grant is largely for those of our whānau who need support travelling to a sporting event at a national level. And one of our whānau was successful in getting that. That was our Casey, who went to Japan with the New Zealand Police Force. And the cultural grant is there to support any wānanga mahi that meets the aspiration and aims of the Trust. And most recently, we've also supported the Mokopapa Wānanga as an example. That's coming up. It was postponed, so that's coming up soon. The last one in mind before I hand it over was the Tangihanga grant. We had a bit of a system that appeared to be quite difficult, having to complete the form. So we're looking at how we can possibly revise that. And if we know that wetahi o tātou beneficiaries have died, and we know that one of us a haere tonu ki te tangihanga, if we can arrange for that koha to go from the Tangitū Whānau Trust at the time of the tangi. So we're looking at that currently because we do want to ensure that we're accountable. I know it's a bit of a hard case going to a tangi and saying, oh, cuz, can you sign this receipt, so we make sure that everything's accounted for. We're just going to figure out ways. And the other thing is that you don't have checks anymore. So checks have all, it's very likely that we'd need to get account numbers to be able to put putia through. So watch this space, and just remember that if any of our whānau die, there's an allocation of $500 per tangi for our beneficiaries. Ka pai, Wenere, kei hea koe. I'll hand it over to Wenere. Any questions on the distribution grants? The education, sporting, cultural. Ka pai, Wenere? Yes.
noted, and it's always good to hear positive feedback in terms of how we're distributing support from the trust out to others. Excellent, and well done to your daughter as well. Mami, Aroha, did you have anything to add? Auntie Phyllis Mason?
Oi, Aroha, you want to come and kōrero about your our movie star relation? And if you don't see her on TV, what's the program, Kaz?
Kia ora te whānau. Yes, the program's called Mean Mums. Thank you all for watching and supporting. It's really important to get our funding for the next round. I really enjoy the children running around making fun of me because they think I'm funny. That's awesome. Anyway, so yeah, apart from being an actor, I'm also an artistic director and programmer in the arts. And I work programming from a Māori perspective, from a Māori lens. And for me, that means starting my curations and my mahi from the whenua that I'm working in, on, and from the stars, and letting that guide and lead what the right seed for each curation will be, and therefore what Paki Waitara will tell, and which artists will come to the table, and who we'll work together with and collaborate with on each project. I've been learning, as most of us have, for years about all these different things, our hononga to whenua and maramataka and whānau marama, and fortunate to have a good bit of time with Dr. Rangi Mātamua and Ririata Makiha over the years, but also right before my 2019 curation for the waterfront in Auckland, NISA, the academic Indigenous academic hui that happens in Hamilton, was about to go forward, and by pure chance and maybe fate, I was down at the it's because I was hungry. I was down at the Auckland seafood market and bumped into a group that were making their way down to NISA for that hui. Included in that group was Dr. Isabel Hawkins, who was the director of the San Francisco Exploratorium. Struck up an immediate talked together a lot and looked at the stars a lot, and she taught me a lot, but she also invited me to go to Guatemala to the first Mesoamerican Congress of Indigenous Astronomy. And I went with the support of the Trust, as you can see there in your puka. I got to Guatemala to sit with Maya, Inca, Hindu, all different kind of academic and astrological and astronomical knowledge holders from all over the world. To sit on the Maya ruins and share our stories together. We needed translators a lot of the time. Experience that Guatemalan culture and understand a culture that's suffering colonization in such a huge way that it's very tragic. But there was a lot of learning had there, which I've brought back and I find relates a lot in every day, and can't wait to share more in a sort of a presentation manner here at home, with the kids especially, and anyone else that wants to learn, and really talk about our collective sameness with our whānau across there and all our Indigenous brothers and sisters, and how we can gain strength from that. Anyway, that's enough from me. Kia ora. Thank you.
Thank you, Aroha. Very inspiring to see the opportunities that the Trust does provide. It's not just about dividend payouts to our owners. It's about how we can support our children, our mokopuna, who are in education, in sports, and also tangihanga. So just remember that there is a tangihanga opportunity too for many of the whānau, that if you need money assistance that the opportunity to apply for that grant is also available. Can I also add, in support of Auntie's and Uncle's really good reports today, that we continue to provide the $10,000 grant to Tūtarenga Marae as our contribution as Te Whānau Tangitu to our marae. So, as I've always said, that not all of us can get home, but you know that we make a contribution in supporting Uncle JR and the whānau who run the marae committee for and on our behalf here at Tūtarenga, that $10,000 does help in terms of our contributions to our marae. And I wanted to thank you all for that opportunity, really, for allowing us to actually do that. So yes, we do, as a whānau, contribute also to the marae. So thank you for that. So we're going to move now that the reports, as Auntie's, Uncle, sorry.
Mama, like Gussie there, I also have two portais. Both of them want a Panadol, I'll tell you. Well, Harold is unable to be here, being the major sponsor of the Wallabies, he's not going to be here. So I got his report, and him and I put them together. Considered kaumātua flats. Just a revision of how I started 2.5 years ago. There were a lot of health and safety concerns considering the kaumātua flats. Starting from the roads, you see that's been tar sealed, both sides from the front of the marae there and in between the houses. Completely upgraded to make it safe. There were potholes galore. That wasn't safe. Going back a couple of years ago, a lot of things were identified: mould, condensation of unable to escape, going behind the walls, rotting the floors. Under the government health and safety scheme of all homes, which is legal now, they had to be ripped out and modified, refit, everything done. And I must say that the contractors that come in were certificated, and they were up to high standard. Where we could, we used local contractors to keep it in the whānau there, and other times we had to go out. Okay. As reported previously, there was a lot of things to go. Because of the steps, over 30 odd years they had rotted. And the steps, you couldn't ask those old girls to come down the Auntie Arlene. You just couldn't. So they were replaced with ramps. And made it safe for them to enter and to exit. Both sides, in front, at the back. Fully repainted, fully recarpeted, tiled, and other extras. I will go into that and I'll read our report. Tangitū Whānau Trust established the kaumātua flats. The flats were established to provide long-term affordable accommodation for kaumātua descended from Potaua and Riapeti, Tangitu. Kaumātua Puriraka Hapu, and the trust needed to ensure that the kaumātua flat facilities generated, they'll come to fund their upkeep and maintenance. The kaumātua are primarily for the use and enjoyment of our kaumātua during their lifetime. In the past year, the trust have refurbished all of the kaumātua flats inside and out, and we are pleased to say that they have been upgraded to a high standard, and the trust acknowledges Auntie Jen, Namaimi, Smack, for supporting the ongoing liaison between the tenants of the kaumātua flats and the trust. The kaumātua flats have a policy that provides a guide for the maintenance and occupation. The trust has also defined the process for allocating the kaumātua flat to whānau members when they become available. Right, kaumātua flats, pergolas. You know what pergolas are? And they had things, they come out certain way. didn't go right over. So whenever it rained, storm, they come in right into the lounge. So I added pergolas over an extra metre and a half, and to some way that it stopped that. It also give them comfort through those hot days when they sit out the front there. Okay, pergolas have been added to the flats, all of the flats. Also, you see them over here on the pai-pais, Tangata Whenua Manipiri. Those extra ones, those are pergolas. They are not kiwi fruit vines. The Pūri home, some of the houses also there have been repainted by the trusted paint, and you see a lot of refurbished paintings that going along the streets here. Pūri has been painted in the healthy homes programs. Healthy homes have been operating through COVID-19 to bring homes up to health and safety standard. Other homes on the Papakainga have been having their services or healthy home too. These services include electrical wiring, any damages to the house, internal and external roofing, heat pumps installed, and painting of the house. Fortunately, some homes on the Papakainga were included in these programs. The retire home, we had some problems there, but mining plumbings, but kei te pai now. Machinery in the way of that bands could use on the phone, on the orchard. Some of them were substandard, some of them needed ooh. And that's what happened in this case here. I will go there. Because of the old tractor they used to have, the old Fergie, it was a health and safety concern. They couldn't even steer it. You had to go 50 yards to go and turn around. You go 2 yards over here. There's other concerns on his PTO when he got up his seat. It should cut out. It should cut out the rotary. This didn't happen in some cases. It was that is a definitely serious health concern for him and others they want to use. So, because the old tractor becoming a liability, it was decided to replace it. It is an advantage to have two tractors due to the workload of the orchard. On choosing a tractor, you would have to make sure it's the one that can cover the workload of mowing, mulching, hauling, and types of machinery and spraying. We purchased another tractor. It's called a Tangitū Whānau. It's a blue one, and that's mean. For the price, the auction price was $28,500. And it's getting used now. When you see it going around, that's the purchase. The orchard. We have been fortunate that our fruit was picked prior to COVID-19. Therefore, our fruit was successfully exported. Second week of lockdown, first time in early March, there's a whole lot of activity coming out on orchards. Arguably days they were into it. This is the second week of lockdown. So after going in and inquiring whatever was happening, there's 61 pickers. And the 6 bays along there, they cleaned it out in 2 days. Both sides, over that side, was cleaned out in 2.5 days. That's mean picking. You're lucky to get a squad of 20 back in the day, and they could assemble 61. 2.5 days all picked out of here. That's good going. Papakainga, once again, we have interest in the Papakainga after 20 years of no activity. We have 4 applications. We welcome these whānau who are coming home to stay. Our workforce on the marae is minimal. So whānau coming home will enhance this. One of the objects of the Papakainga is to manaki. Manaki the marae, look after our tupuna whare, tūranga waiwai, and enhance the whanaungatanga. Pēnei ia tātou hui pēnei. No mai hana mai te whānau. In conclusion, this year has been a great year for us considering COVID-19. Ki a koutou, Mā tātou manaaki e, tia ki ngā wā katoa ki ora tātou, karaka hau pātai ka homai ki au.
Kia ora, Wenerei, ka pai. Any pātai to Wenerei and Auntie Phyllis. We'll come to the wahanga ki aia. Auntie, hello.
Like our Biden over America, he's in the good. They're all good. Karaka hau black.
Karaka, he raru, Auntie.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so just to inform you, all the kaumātua flats are in good condition in terms of the physical condition. They also now meet the health and safety policy standards in terms of safety. Third point, because we have a portfolio that monitors and looks after to ensure that we have everyone paying every week their money, we have no arrears. So I'm sure of it. So there's been an improvement from before, and we've improved in terms of where we are today. So, yeah. Auntie Jen, on there, Jen? Kia ora. Yes. The extractor and heat pump. Yes. Fans. Thank you, Nan.
Kia ora, Jen. The other thing that we did, Jen and I, before Jen left the trust, was we developed the kaumātua policy, the kaumātua flats policy that defines all of the requirements relating to it, like it's running. And also, if it became vacant, what we would do, the process we would engage in to get new people to come in. And we also considered the rate or the amount that people were paying, because it was quite, on the cheaper side, and we thought that we needed to consider higher rates, but there was a process that went with that, AGN. It wasn't just like a carte blanche decision. We needed to sort of consider the issues of the people that were living there at the time. But they're beautiful. Literally all of them are totally redone, and Jen and Wenerei have been hugely responsible for making all of that happen.
Kia ora.
Correct.
Thank you. Ka pai. Any
Aloha.
other? Oh, sorry.
Aloha, Wendy, aloha, Wendy.
Wendy? Yeah, we own them. They're our assets, yes.
Aloha.
Ka pai, Wendy. It's a good question. Yes. Yeah, aroha, kia ora. So it's, I'll get Uncle JR to respond, but can I say that it is a marae grant, and as such, the way we can have feedback and input into the grant is by attending monthly the marae meetings back home. Uncle JR, can you respond to that? Thank you, as the chairman of the marae. Thank you, Uncle. Yeah. So I think maybe Aroha and Uncle could have a discussion over Hakari at lunchtime. But all I would say is that we are proud to support our marae, that we do contribute annually, unless you feel that we need to redirect the money somewhere else. But it is our contribution to our beautiful, look at our lovely marae that we have. And that our whānau should be proud that we make some contribution annually to support the hau kāinga. So Uncle JR and the marae committee and everyone that works tirelessly here, excuse me, for all of us, thank you so much. I wish 10,000 was a little bit more, but at least ahakoa heiti, e paunamu. Okay, so we're going to, and Aroha, look, come home and talk to Uncle, come to the mai meetings and be part of what they do back home. And because I know you're really enthusiastic about all those things, so awesome to see that energy too. Kapai. Okay, we're going to move the reports that they be received. So that's Auntie as the chair for the grants and distributions report. So could someone move her report, please? Auntie Lil, seconded by Auntie Kath. Those in favour say aye. Against? And passed. The housing, health and safety report would have been reported by Uncle Spicolo, but him and Uncle work together. So we'll receive that report today as well. Can someone please move? Auntie Lil again, seconded by Nanjen. Okay, those in favour say aye. Against? And passed. Okay, awesome. That's the reports. The accounts have been, so I'm just going back to that. I think the audit, so Uncle's presented the report, the financial report on behalf of KPMG, and also the, okay. So the financial audited accounts have been approved. Okay, can someone, I'll move from the chair. Oh, well, no, I'll remove my moving motion. Could someone from the floor please move that the financial audit accounts be received and approved? By Uncle Ronald, moved by Uncle Ronald, second by Auntie Kath. Is there any further discussion on that? Those in favour say aye. Against? And passed. I suppose the key points there, that the audit has provided an unqualified audit report. So well done to each of you, because it's our audit report. The profit before tax is 242. The profit before tax is this financial year is $242,519. And net assets total, so the net assets that we have now is $6,218,787. So that the 2020 audited financial statements are accepted. Can I have someone just to move that, Auntie Sue? The audited accounts? Could Auntie Sue? Yeah, Auntie, thank you, Auntie. Someone second? This is the audited accounts from Yeah, from Fred Cookson. Auntie Anahera. Ngarongo? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry. Ngarongo, yes. Moved by Auntie Sue, seconded by Ngarongo. Thank you. Those in favour say aye. Against? And passed. Okay, kapai. Well, that's really great. Uncle Tom and Auntie Ko told us as the trustees our kai is at 1. So we're just about there. It's nearly quarter to 1. Election of trustees. So we have the election of trustees, the nominations that have been received. So just that's Auntie Lil and Hey Hey, nominated by Leila Kakau and our Nan Ann Hill. Second one was Sharon Shea, nominated by Sharon Shea, sorry, Auntie Sharon. Sharon Shea, nominated by Phyllis Tangitu and Tracy Tangitu. And the third nomination is Christy Lee Tangitu, nominated by Uncle Henry Tai and Auntie Anahera Akuhata. So just so that we know that, and I can confirm if you need to again, that we've agreed that it'll be by a show of hands in terms of the vote. Is that correct? Because from the beginning, that's what we decided. So the financial report and the audit accounts have been received. Election of trustees, those are the so I just needed to make sure that firstly, Hannah, that each of the nominations have been received in a timely manner. Can you confirm that to me as the chairman, please? Yeah, can you stand up, please? And just, I need confirmation because we had a discussion earlier, you and I wanted to make sure that one of the last nominations that came forward, we weren't too sure at the time whether it had arrived on time. So I need to make sure before I present it to make sure that we have the mandate to proceed.
So
Kia ora
yes,
tātou.
we advertised in the paper and out on the Pānui that the close-off was at 12 p.m. on Thursday. Unfortunately, Tracy Stoneham updated some forms and put that cut-off to Friday. So those people that received the forms via Tracy followed the time frame that they were given. So they've all been received according to the time frame that Tracy set.
So that's Tracy's time frame, though it's the trustees that set it to Thursday, not Tracy. So I need to confirm as the chairman that the date we had set was the Thursday. When did we change it?
Yes, that's what it was published.
Yeah, that's correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to rule that it be retained as the Thursday. No changing of the dates. It's too important that the process be done properly. The trustees had said it at Thursday in our meeting, so we did not convene for it to be shifted out to Friday. So I can confirm that as the chair. So I'm going to stick to that. That was what was advertised to everybody. It must be fair. So with that, now I'm going to proceed. So that's the second part. So I need someone just to confirm and support me with that we stick to the time and the date that was the Thursday, 5 p.m., that all nominations had to be in. So just to confirm, I'll move as the chair. Can someone second? The timing. It's the Thursday. Someone second? It was the Thursday, it's 5 p.m. All of them had to be in by that time, not Friday. Because the trustees, we did not have another meeting to convene to shift it to Friday. It was Thursday. So that's the last mandate I had in my trustees meeting. So I don't know who's late at this stage. I'm just making sure that generally everything's being done properly, okay? Because we have to make sure as the trustees that it is fair in terms of the process. So it's a technical thing, nothing else. There's nothing else. So I'm going to move from the floor that the date that we affirmed be the date that the owners consent to in terms of the process to receive the nominations. So I'm moving. Can someone second? Yeah, seconded by Auntie Anne. Is there any further discussion? Uncle, there's a discussion point? Yep. Well, yeah, but then we had a meeting. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but this is going to be voted on by you as the owners. Yeah, yeah, that's why. Yep. So noted, thank you. Okay, so noted, thank you. I'm not sure at this stage. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Uncle, for that. So I'm just having a look. We're checking at it now. Okay, yeah, that's true. So Hannah, just you, because you received them on our behalf, my dear. So thank you. We're going to stick with that. So move second. Those in favour say aye. Against? Passed. Done. Okay, so it's fair. The time, kumana. Second part is to make sure that now, Hannah, so we can proceed, that were all of the nominations that were presented today, did they all come in on the Thursday? I'm asking Hannah. Thank you, Auntie. Can you please answer that for me? So just which ones did they, I'm hoping they all came in on a Thursday, and the time that was allotted, 5 p.m.
The nomination for Lil was received on the 4th, and the nomination for Christy Lee was received on the 4th. The nomination for Sharon Shea was received on the 5th.
Okay. All right. Okay. Friday. Okay, so with that, there you are. You have that in front of you to the owners. So there was one that didn't come in on time. So we have to remove that. The other two that came in on time was the Thursday. Hansi Lil and Jamie Lee. Christy Lee. Yes. 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 No. No. 2 arrived on the 4th and 1 arrived on the 5th. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But thank you, Auntie. But the difference there was Sharon, her nomination form arrived late. No, confirmed. It arrived at 2:30. It didn't arrive on time. 12 o'clock. Sorry? 12 o'clock. No, I made a mistake. Yeah, sorry. I made a mistake with time. It was. So I'm just going to withdraw the comment about 5 p.m. Sorry, I made a mistake. It was supposed to be in at 12 p.m. Aroha mai. Yeah. Yeah, so that was a mistake on my part. So we have the 3 nominations. One arrived on the 4th, one arrived on the 5th. The 2 arrived at 12 p.m. The other one arrived at 2:30 p.m. Yeah, so it's, yeah. Okay, so you've heard the kōrero, and you're going to vote on this soon anyway. So I'm going to put the next stage to the floor. Yes, Auntie Susan? Yeah. It's in the New Zealand Herald. Sorry, it's yeah. Yeah. Mm. Well, I know that Hannah did, to the best of her ability, under our guidance, did send out all the information that she could. So we, yeah, as I said, that's one of the areas that we need to improve in terms of our communications. I totally agree. But in terms of the technical part of the meeting, which I'm looking at as part of the process, one did not come in on time. In terms of the mandate of our trustees, in terms of the advertisement of the trustees to nominations to be in by Thursday, and it had to be in by 12 p.m. Yeah, Auntie Anne. Yeah, okay. As far as I know, Hannah? Yeah. Okay. We keep updating the database every year, so yeah, if there is corrections in terms of addresses, we need to ensure that that's always done. So we can only really mail out what we've got at this stage, and if it is incorrect, please let us know so that we can actually update it. Yeah, we need to update it. Yeah, okay. Mm. Yeah, yeah. But okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Yeah. Okay. So there's a bit of work that we need to do in terms of the improvement of communication right across our platforms. So yeah, that is a weakness at this stage. Okay. Yeah. 2 nominees. So we've got 2 nominees in front of us, and it's Christy Lee and Lil. So wanting to confirm that those are the 2 that have been put forward. We have checked that they have been nominated by owners. That was the other part of the process. So that's been done. And we're going to now proceed, okay, with the election of the trustees. This vacancy has occurred because of the passing of our koroua. So we would like to invite the nominees to come forward. Tēnei wā, say 2-3 minutes, 2 minutes. Auntie Lil, over to you. Auntie, you can speak first, reason sort of why you think we should support you in your nomination. And then Kirsty Lee, Tangitu after that, and then we'll go to the vote. Thank you, thank you. Kia ora tātou.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Lily Hei Hei aho. My mum was Elizabeth Seymour Ormsby Awake, and we live up in Auckland. The reason why I applied again, because I got asked. I've been a trustee for 6 years and before.
Hoi hoi, please.
And I enjoyed doing the work for the whānau. Yeah, lots of rarere goes on, but got to get it sorted out somehow. But we haven't had a free way of doing things properly in the past and being honest with each other and doing things to help each other, not just a few of the whānau. And that, for me, has got to change. We've got to work for everybody or just leave it. I'm a JP, and I also worked on police diversion for 8 years. And I'm a counsellor for mental health. But when my dad got sick, I changed over and did part-time work for the elderly in the community until my dad died. And then I went back and worked for the elderly rather than going back into my other job. The money was good, but I enjoy what I do. I feel down here that some of us have lost our way because we were brought up to help our elders, and one of our elderly, like Auntie Anne, her needs have been ignored for years, like some of mine have, and to get back on and then learn the system again and work together is the best way to do it. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Homai te paki. Kia ora, Auntie. Thank you. Okay, and the next, Christy Lee, hara mai? Nau mai. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau. Tēnā tātou kua whakarau I ka mai ki raro I te tuanui o tō tātou whare atu te reinga. Ko waia hau, ko Christy Lee Tangitu tōku ingoa. Ko maua o te maunga, ko tauranga te moana, ko Ngāti Ranginui ngai te rangi ngā iwi, ko Pirirākau te hapu, ko Tū te reinga te marae, ko Bazi raua ko Rana, o ku mātua, he mokopuna nā I Hākara, ara ko Pōtaua rau ko Riapeti o ku tūpuna. Ka huri au ki te reo hoko prawa kia whakamārama mai he hana kōrero. Kau. Kua tipu ake au ki roto I tēnei hapu, I kurainau ki te kura o te puna. Ka tahi ka whakawhiti atu ki roto o te aroa, ka noho ki te taha o taku auntie Ange, tētai o ngā tamahine o Nani Kōwhai. Ka rekau he kōtiro tāna, nā reira ko au tēnā, nāna I poipoia I ahau. Nā reira kua kaha tipu au ki ngā rekereke o ngā kuia me ngā kaumātua o tēnei marae, o tira o te hapu nei. Ka tahi anō ka mutu I taku tohu paitahi tāpuhi, engari kāre au I te whakatīnana tia I taua tohu, kua whakarewa mātou o te kāinga nei I tētahi peka, kei raro I te kura kōkiri. Nā reira he kura e whakahaere ana ki tēnei o ngā marae ko te kura kōkiri ki te uru. So we run a peka here, a little school, a satellite school, kura kaupapa Māori. As I've just said, I've actually finished my nursing degree last year. Although I'm not practicing, I've helped revive our little satellite school here at Tūterenga Marae. And we have a roll of 17 children, ranging from 6 to 16. So it's not an easy job to ensure that our tamariki are fulfilled in their education. You can usually find me at the back, ko au tētahi o ngā ringa hāpai, in the wharekai, at majority of the meetings that we have for our marae. I also sit on as a representative for the Pirirākau Incorporated for our marae. I'm also been a chairman for Te Puna Tauranga Moana for our Huiaranga Club for the last 2 years. Also helped out with as a representative for our marae for the Pirirākau COVID response team this year. he nui aku mahi. Engari, what can I bring to our whānau trust? Probably a rangatahi or just to learn from our trustees that are currently here. And I think it'd be a great thing to have a younger generation coming through so that we've got some succession happening. Kia ora tātou.
Ho mai te paki, kia ora. Alright. Thank you, Auntie, and also Christy Lee. Oh, Uncle Henry. Oh, kia ora, Uncle. Thank you, Uncle Henry. Auntie Anne, did you want to say a few words in terms of thanks, Uncle Henry? You were one of the nominators for Auntie Lil. Did you want to speak? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Kia ora, Auntie. Auntie Anne, did you still want to say something? Okay. Thank you, Auntie Lil.
Sitting here with a young fellow by yourself, just me.
Okay, kia ora tātou. What I'd like to do is formally move from the chair that Christy Lee be appointed trustee on the Tangitū Whānau Trust. So move from the chair. Second by Auntie Lil. Those in favour say aye. Against? Pass. Ho mai te paki. Nō reira, kai te huri atu anō kia koe, Christy Lee. Nau mai hara mai ki te tēpu. Ka pai. Kia ora tātou. Kia ora Christy Lee. Hana mai ki te hongi, ki te whakatau, te ahuatanga. Kia koe. Uncle. Kai te rere tonu te rākau kōrero ki te marea. Mehe kōrero atu anō kai kuna e moi te katihanga. Uncle JR.
break. I'm all right.
Kia ora, uncle. E atahua tēnā. Yes, uncle. Kia ora, Uncle J.R. Tēnā rā hoki koutou te haukainga o te marae nei o tūtereinga. E hara ko koutou ke te ahi ka e pupuri nei te mana me te mauri o te marae nei i ngā wā katoa. Ahakoa he aha te kaupapa. Ahakoa he tangihanga te kaupapa rānei, he kaupapa mātauranga rānei, he kaupapa rāranga rānei, tu atu i wēnei kaupapa ngā kaupapa whānui e pā ana ki te ao Māori. Ko koutou tērā e kawe ake nei ngā tikanga i waiho tia mai e pōtaua rātau ngā koraua me ngā kuia o te piriraka. Anko, kei te mihi atu ki a koe i te wā o te tangihanga o Kiritoha, i tū koe ki te whai kōrero, i runga i te pai. A tāhua te ki te ake. A koe, a Wenerei, a Shadrach Mark, tātou i noho kotahi ki te pupuri, te mauri o te pai. Nō reira e taku matua tēnei ka mihi ake me ngā whakamāramatanga o ngā mahi e whakahaere tia nei e koutou i te pō, i te ao, i ngā wā katoa. Te ahi kā o te marae, te mana o te marae. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. He kaupapa anō hei kōrerotanga, ki te kore kua mutu. Thank you for the update, Uncle. And are there any other general business items? So that's a full update on what happens at Te Ao Marae Tūtereinga. Again, to the haukainga, thank you very much for all the work you do. So I'm just about ready to close for lunch. I think Uncle Tom and Auntie Kahu are waiting for us. Kia ora. Kia ora, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie Lou. Uncle John? Yeah. Ka pai. Yeah. Auntie and Uncle, could you reckon you could have a kōrero over there over lunch? Yeah, respectfully, Auntie and Uncle, can I just suggest that it's another kaupapa that you could talk about after the meeting is finished? Yeah, I know, but unfortunately for us, it's not a trust matter, Auntie. So karoha ki ngā kōrero, but I'm sure Uncle can and Auntie can talk about it at lunchtime, eh? Please. Auntie Sue, general business? Pai. Nanjin? Okay, we'll consider that. Yeah, thank you. Aye. Thank you, Auntie Ngawa. Okay, awesome. Good point. Good points. Kumutu, I'd like to firstly thank Uncle Tom, Auntie Kahu, for the kai and looking after us throughout the wānanga. Secondly, Uncle Jaya and the haukainga. Uncle Jaya, if you're there, to all my aunties, and Jen particularly, Auntie Kath, you know, all of you that are working hard to support Poppy and the things that he wanted for all of us in terms of the work that we continue to do. Uncle Wenere, and everyone that's been part of the haukainga and supporting the wānanga. Without your support, the wānangas can't happen. I wanted to say, even with the trustees too, that even though they've attended most of the wānanga, I have their full support to carry on with the wānanga, and that means a lot to me. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Christy Lee, we look forward to your contributions, which are going to be awesome, sort of lifting and shifting where we need to go into the future, having the voice of our rangatahi in all of our decisions that we make. And mana wahine too, mana wahine pirirako. So you're going to really bring another dimension with Auntie, and we look forward to their contribution. Thank you to Hannah, to Tracy Stoneham for the work that they continually do for us in terms of their administration, making sure that our accounts are in place. Also the presentation today from, what's his name? From Sika, I'm just trying to remember his name, sorry. Reese, yeah. Look, the report and showing the quality of our kiwi fruit is really always pleasing to report back that in terms of that part of the economic development of the Tangitū Whānau Trust, I think we're doing really well. We just need to keep building on that potential. But more importantly, to our kaumātua, our nannies and our koros, our uncles and aunties, all of my cousins, and those who, our in-laws, our family members that are here and support us, thank you. In particular, I wanted to recognize my mother. I don't know how she handles me, but I wanted to say, Mum, that, you know, ko koe te pau toko manawa tōku manawa. Ko koe tēnā e tau toko anau I ngā wā katoa. And last but not least, Kiritoha, I wanted to acknowledge him for his support as a man of integrity, a man of honesty, a man committed to the development of Te Pirirako. As our leader, as our kaumātua of Tūtarenga, he will be missed by us all, but I have the utmost faith that all of us have the ability to ensure that the work that has been done by him and many others, we will carry it forward. Nō reira, I runga I wēnei kōrero, kai te mihi atu, go safely home, bless you all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Who voted for Trump? Anyway, Who voted for Joe Biden? So big things happening in the economic market. So it's good for us to see what's happening around the world, in Asia, because you know our produce does have an impact on those markets and financial exciting things that are happening throughout the world. Tēnā koutou, Uncle Wenerei. Oh, tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you, Auntie. Yeah. Okay, ko te korero mai a aku ma tetahi koutou hei whakakapi ake. Tāne? Auntie, nen. Thank you, Nen. Okay, I reckon we need that. We deserve something happy. Yeah. Something exciting. Okay, ko mutu. I declare our AGM closed. Tāne o tamahau, kai tetahi o kōrua ne. Ko whakahoki atu te rākau ki tēnā taha, te haukainga. Tēnā tātou katoa. Taike, kia ora, ka pai. Thank you all. Mix and mingle and we'll head down to have kai. Ko karangatia tatau e hene kura. Nō reira nau ake, watu tatau, ki reira tatau kai ai. Tēnā tātou katoa.